Most people quit compounding before it ever gets the chance to impress them. They invest for a few years. They stay consistent. They skip things. They put money into the market every month. Then they look at the account and think, is this really working? Because the early stage of compounding can feel painfully slow. You may hear people talk about money growing on money, returns building on returns, and investments turning into freedom. But when your account is still small, it does not feel like a miracle. It feels like sacrifice with a tiny reward. That is where many people make the mistake. They think slow means broken, but compounding is not broken in the beginning. It is building the base. The curve looks flat because the snowball is still small. The same process that feels unimpressive early can become powerful later, but only if you stay in the game long enough to reach the breaking point. And that is why the 9751 rule matters. It gives you a simple way to understand what you are actually waiting for. 9 is the realistic return expectation. 7 is the time needed for compounding to start becoming visible. 5 is the portfolio structure that helps you stay calm. And 1 is the small yearly increase that gives the whole system more fuel. In this video, I am going to show you why compounding feels slow at first, why that slow phase is normal, and how the 9751 rule helps you reach the point where your money finally starts doing more of the work. And if you want more videos that help you build real wealth quietly, understand money better, and create more freedom over time, subscribe to the channel. Number 9. Use a realistic return expectation. This is where compounding starts, because if your expectations are wrong, the whole plan can feel broken even when it is working. Many people hear stories about huge returns and start thinking investing should feel fast. They see one amazing year, one lucky investor, or one chart online, and suddenly normal investing feels disappointing. Then the market has a boring year, a down year, or a sideways year, and they start questioning everything. But nothing may be wrong. That is just normal investing. The 9 in the 9751 rule reminds you to build your plan on a realistic long-term return, not a fantasy number. Around 9% before inflation is a useful rough expectation for long-term stock investing, but it is not something you should expect every single year. That part matters, because compounding does not move in a clean straight line. Some years will be great, some years will be painful, some years will feel like nothing happened at all. If you know that up front, you are less likely to panic when the market behaves normally. You stop treating every slow year as proof that the strategy failed. A realistic expectation keeps you grounded, because compounding does not reward the person with the most exciting prediction. It rewards the person who stays with a realistic plan long enough for the math to work. Number 7. Give compounding enough time to become visible. This is the part most people underestimate. They think compounding should feel powerful after a few months, 1 year, or maybe 2 years. So when the account still looks small, they start doubting the whole idea. But in the early years, your contributions are doing most of the work. The growth is there, but it does not feel impressive yet, because the base is still too small. Compounding has not failed, it just has not had enough time to show itself. That is why the 7 in the 9751 rule matters. It is the patience checkpoint. The first stretch is about building size. You're not waiting for magic. You are building the pile that future growth will work on. And once that pile gets larger, the same return starts to feel completely different. A small return on a tiny account barely gets your attention, but the same return on a larger account can move your net worth more than months of saving used to. That is when people finally say, "Now I see it." The danger is that many investors quit before they reach that point. They judge compounding while they are still in the flat part of the curve. But the flat part is not wasted. It is the foundation. And if you stay consistent long enough, compounding changes from an idea you believe in to a result you can actually see. Number 5. Build 5 layers that help you stay invested. This is where many people misunderstand diversification. They think it means owning a bunch of random investments. A few stocks, a few funds, maybe something they heard about online. But that is not really a plan. That is just collecting. Real diversification has a different job. It helps you avoid panic, because when everything you own moves in the same direction at the same time, the emotional pressure becomes much harder to handle. One bad market stretch can make you feel like the whole plan is failing. That is why the 5 in the 9751 rule matters. It means your portfolio should have a few simple layers that do different jobs. A broad market foundation, some growth exposure, some dividend or income exposure, some international exposure, and some defensive money, like cash or bonds, depending on your age and risk level. The goal is not to make your portfolio complicated. The goal is to make it durable. Because compounding only works if you stay invested long enough to benefit from it. And the right structure can help you stay calm when one part of the market is struggling. This is not about avoiding every loss. Losses are part of investing. This is about avoiding the kind of fear that makes you sell at the worst possible time. Because the biggest threat to compounding is not one bad year. It is abandoning the plan before the good years have enough time to matter. Number 1. Increase your contribution by one small step every year. This is the part that gives compounding more fuel. Most people think they need a huge jump to change their financial future. They think they need to invest twice as much, or cut their lifestyle in half, or become perfectly disciplined overnight. But small increases repeated every year can do far more than one dramatic change that only lasts for a month. That is why the 1 in the 9751 rule matters. It means you increase your contribution by one small step each year. Maybe it is 1% more. Maybe it is a small dollar amount. Maybe it happens every time you get a raise. The exact number matters less than the habit. As your income grows, your investments grow with it. As your life improves, your future gets a bigger share too. And small increases are easier to keep. You may barely feel the difference this month, but compounding feels it for decades. Every small increase buys more assets. Those assets create more growth, and that growth creates more future growth. You are not trying to win with one massive sacrifice. You are adding fuel to the machine, year after year, until the machine starts doing more of the work than you do. Why most people still miss the breaking point? The 9751 rule is simple, but simple does not mean easy. Because the real problem with compounding is not the math. The math is quiet, boring, and predictable over long periods. The real problem is behavior. People check too often. They react too quickly. They compare their slow progress to someone else's lucky year. They stop contributing when the market feels scary. They chase whatever is hot after it has already gone up. And this is how compounding gets interrupted. Not because the strategy failed, because the investor could not stay with it long enough. That is why each part of the rule protects you from a different mistake. 9 keeps your expectations realistic. 7 keeps you from quitting too early. 5 keeps your portfolio from feeling too fragile. 1 keeps new money moving into the system every year. Together, they make investing less emotional. And that matters because most people do not need a more complicated plan. They need a plan they can actually keep during boring years, bad years, and confusing years. The breaking point comes to the person who stays invested long enough to reach it, not the person who keeps restarting every time patience gets uncomfortable. Compounding feels slow because the base is being built. The early years may look flat, but they are not wasted. Your money is growing, your habit is getting stronger, and your account is gaining mass. That is what the 9751 rule helps you remember. 9 keeps expectations realistic, 7 gives the curve time, 5 keeps you invested through volatility, and 1 adds more fuel every year. So do not quit during the flat part. That flat part is building the steep part. Keep going long enough, and compounding eventually stops feeling slow. It starts feeling like momentum. If this helped, subscribe for more videos on building real wealth quietly. And let me know in the comments, which part of the rule do you need to focus on most?